Hello students. Welcome to our channel, Grade 10 History, Unit 2 Tutorials. Before we begin, please like, share and subscribe for more videos. Now let us dive into an amazing today's lesson. Lesson 3, Scramble for Africa and the Berlin Conference. The Scramble for Africa was a period when European powers rapidly colonized Africa. This lesson explains how colonial rivalries led to the partition of Africa, the process of colonization, its effects, and how to draw a sketch map of colonial Africa. The Scramble for Africa happened from the 1880s to the early 1900s. Before this, only 10% of Africa was under foreign rule, mostly along the coasts. The rest of Africa was independent. The Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 was a key event that organized this division of Africa among European nations. Most of North Africa was under Turkish rule, while the British had settled in Sierra Leone and the French controlled Algeria. The Boers and the British were in South Africa, and the Portuguese controlled parts of Mozambique and Angola along the coast. These foreign powers were limited to coastal areas. The rest of Africa was independent and free from colonial rule. However, this situation changed in the late 19th century. European countries developed a strong interest in Africa because of its resources, land, and trade opportunities. This interest led to fierce rivalry and competition among European powers. The massive and rapid expansion of European control over Africa from the 1880s to the early 1900s is called the Scramble for Africa. This scramble created tension among European powers, which eventually led to the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. The Berlin Conference, 1884 to 1885. The Berlin Conference was held in Germany from 1884 to 1885, and it was organized by the German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. 14 countries attended the meeting, including major European powers such as Britain, France, Germany, and Portugal. Other countries like Belgium, Spain, Italy, Russia, and the United States also participated. However, no African leaders or representatives were invited to the conference. The main purpose of the conference was to settle disputes among European powers and to divide Africa peacefully among them. The conference did not care about the wishes of African people. Instead, it focused on avoiding war between European powers and ensuring that each had a fair share of Africa's land and resources. Decisions of the Berlin Conference. At the conference, the European nations signed the General Act of the Conference, which contained 38 articles. Some of the most important decisions included: 1. Principle of effective occupation. European country could claim a territory in Africa only if it had treaties with local leaders, raised its flag there, and set up an administration with police to maintain order. 2. Doctrine of the sphere of influence. Any country that took possession of part of the African coast had to inform the other European powers. This was done to reduce conflict among Europeans. 3. Congo Free State. The Congo was given to King Leopold II of Belgium as his personal property. This decision allowed Leopold to exploit the Congo for rubber and ivory, causing great suffering for the local people. 4. Free navigation. The Niger River and the Congo River were opened to free navigation for all European powers. The Berlin Conference marked the real beginning of colonization in Africa. After the meeting, European powers rushed to occupy territories across the continent. Germany declared protectorates in Togo, Cameroon, Southwest Africa, Namibia, and Tanganyika. France expanded its control in West Africa, while Britain took more land in East and Southern Africa. Methods of colonization. Europeans used various methods to colonize Africa. These included fake treaties, trickery, and military force. An example of a fake treaty was the Treaty of Wuchale between Ethiopia and Italy, which later caused conflict. The success of Europeans in partitioning Africa was mainly due to their advanced military technology. They had modern weapons and professional armies, while many African societies were not united and often fought against each other. The lack of cooperation among Africans made it easier for Europeans to conquer them. Summary. The Scramble for Africa was a period of intense competition among European powers to control African lands and resources. Before the 1880s, only a small part of Africa was colonized. But by the early 20th century, almost the entire continent had been divided among European powers. The Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 was the turning point in this process. It laid down rules for colonization, such as the principle of effective occupation and the sphere of influence. The conference gave King Leopold II control of the Congo, allowed free navigation of major rivers, and encouraged Europeans to expand into Africa more rapidly. Africans were not consulted or invited to the conference, and their independence was ignored. The scramble was successful for Europeans mainly because of their military strength and the lack of unity among Africans. In conclusion, the scramble for Africa and the Berlin Conference changed the political map of Africa forever. Almost the entire continent was placed under European control, with serious consequences for African societies, economies, and cultures. Review questions. Question 1. What was the main purpose of the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885? Answer. The main purpose of the Berlin Conference was to divide Africa among European powers without causing conflicts among them. It set rules for colonization, like the principle of effective occupation and the doctrine of the sphere of influence, and ensured no African nations were involved. Question 2. How did European powers successfully colonize Africa during the scramble for Africa? Answer. European powers succeeded due to their military superiority, using well-trained armies and advanced weapons. They also took advantage of the lack of cooperation and solidarity among African communities. Additionally, they used fake treaties and force to control territories. Please like, share, and subscribe for more videos.